Hey guys, Marsningen here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so not only are support memories coming to global, but there is another mechanic that is being added to global as well with the release of the anniversary, or more specifically with the release of the two headlining units from the anniversary dual Dokkan Fest. So I did a guide for the support memories that will have probably gone out earlier the same day this comes out, so if you haven't seen that, go check that out. But this is a guide and explanation all about revival skills, which is the other new mechanic that comes to the game. So UI Goku and Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta are the first two characters to have this ability in the game. The LR Master Roshi will pick one up as well, but he doesn't get the revival skill until he actually becomes an LR. So when the first part of the anniversary starts, you obviously get the base SSR Roshi, then they will add the stages to get him awakened to a TUR, and then an LR, and then he EZAs. It follows the same format that the Zamasu in Goku's body free-to-play LR did for last year's anniversary. So he doesn't get the revival skill until he gets to LR. So obviously these two are the first two to get it. So going over the three that are available, so these three anniversary units are the only three units in the game, I believe, still on JP that actually have a revival skill. Be interesting to see where they choose to go with this, because obviously we saw them introduce things like the exchange mechanic, and then they don't really ever do anything with it much anymore. So obviously this is a very, very powerful mechanic. So it'll be interesting to see how frequently they do decide to give this out. But it's going to be very cool. It definitely can fit in thematically with a lot of characters. So obviously a revival skill sounds pretty self-explanatory. It does in fact allow you to revive from the dead. So the way this works is each character has a different requirement that you have to meet in order for their revival skill to be active. There's actually an icon that will show at the bottom of the UI if at the start of the turn the revival skill is actually active for that turn. And then if you die during that turn, regardless of who takes the final hit, so say you have UI Goku on rotation, his revival skill is active, he dodges a whole bunch of attacks, and then you have like a support unit in slot 3, they get hit with a super attack and that kills you, that will activate Goku's revival skill. So it plays a cool little animation. One of the things I really like is you still see like the KO symbol come up, and then that shatters, and then you'll see the animation for each of the characters. So I'm going to play Goku's one here now.
Mada owari ja nee zo. 17号やベジータ。それに他のみんながオラに託してくれたんだ。その思いにかけても。ここで一本を引くわけにはいかねえ。
So yeah, that's Goku's one. Very, very cool. And as you can see here, so for the actual conditions and everything for his revival skill, when HP is 50% or less upon entering the attacking turn, if the character receives an attack 3 times in battle, if the character or an ally attacking the same turn receives a KO attack, revives and recovers 70% HP. So you have to start the turn under 50% health, and you have to have received 3 attacks with AGL Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku. Of course, that's easier said than done, because he does have a 70% chance to dodge built in. So they've obviously done that, you know, 3 attacks doesn't sound like a lot, but he's going to be dodging the majority of the attacks that come his way. So these obviously are geared more towards being useful in the longer, more difficult events, because it's very unlikely this guy is going to get hit 3 times within even the first like 3 to 5 turns, depending on how lucky you get with the RNG. Obviously, we've all seen those times with units like the current STR UI Goku that has a 70% chance to dodge, and there will occasionally be those times where he just doesn't dodge anything. So once you have this activated, other than that, there is no turn restriction. So if you are able to take 3 hits with this guy in the first turn, it would be active on the second turn as long as you're already under 50% HP. So that's going to be the only time really that you'll probably get to see it in Super Battle Road, just because of how much Goku dodges. But yeah, you revive from the KO attack and you recover 70% of your HP. So you don't go to full health, only to 70%, but obviously that is still incredibly useful Both of these guys, like, you know, being part of the anniversary and the God event also releasing, which is, of course, the new hardest endgame content available. We'll be doing a guide for that as well, probably be out tomorrow. These revival skills are obviously going to be very, very useful for those difficult events. So moving on to Vegeta, his is very, very similar because obviously the dual headlining anniversary units, they're always very similar with just minor tweaks. So his also requires you to start the turn at 50% or less HP, and he has to have received an attack 7 times. Now obviously the clear difference is that's because he doesn't have any dodge built into his passive. He is an int unit, so of course he is going to have level 5 dodge for free. You're probably not going to want to give him any more than that if you do pull dupes. So he has to be attacked 7 times. He's a very good defensive unit anyway though, so you're probably going to be using him as the tank on the rotations that he's on. So even in modes like Super Battle Road, if you're going up against the stages where there's multiple enemies, it's not going to take too many turns for him to be hit 7 times, and then his will be active, and then just like Goku's one, him or another character takes a hit and receives a KO, you revive with 70% HP. So we'll go ahead and play his animation now.
Bulma, Trunks, Bula, キャベトの約束、サイヤ人としての誇り、俺のすべて捨ててたまるか!
Yeah, his awesome as well. I really, really like his. This Vegeta also has a costume change, but it's with his active skill. But yeah, very, very cool. And then moving on, of course, to the final one that we did already mention. It was the LR Roshi. As you can see here from his description, this is his pre-EZA details. These are the post-EZA. He does have his revival skill with the EZA. Sorry, without the EZA, but it does actually get slightly better. So if we look at the pre-EZA one, so again, 50% or less upon entering the turn. I feel like that's probably going to be a general theme. Now, the thing about that that's kind of interesting is it means on really hard stages like the GT Goku event, especially against like the Golden Azaru, it is actually possible to get one shot from a super attack when you're way above 50% HP. So that is something to bear in mind. Even if, say, your Vegeta's been hit 7 times, if you're on like 60% HP, that revival skill is not going to be active, and then if you just get one shot by the Great Ape, you are not going to use the revival skill. So bear in mind it's always 50% or less, or at least for the 3 characters that have it so far. But his restriction, rather than being hit a bunch of times, he needs to have 2 or more Turtle School category allies on the team, which is pretty easy because most of the teams you want to run this guy on are going to have 2 or more Turtle category school allies. Obviously it's like every Goku in the game is on that category, and then obviously Krillin's and stuff like that as well, so the Reps of Universe 17 works out perfectly. You revive from the KO and you recover 50% HP. After the EZA, the restriction is still the same, 50% or less, 2 Turtle School allies, but you recover 60% HP. So his isn't quite as powerful as the LR's, but you're still gaining back a bunch of HP. Realistically, the amount of health that you gain back isn't even necessarily that important, because it's just the fact that it's saving you from being KO'd. But then obviously 60% is a very nice base to still then work from. You can obviously pop an item, or you're still at a reasonable level to survive the next turn if you don't have an item or anything like that. So obviously revival skills, very, very powerful. Oh, let's go ahead and check out Master Roshi's one here quickly.
Chichan.
なかなか若い頃のようにはいかんわい。
よし、行くぞじっちゃん。
さて、やろうかな。
And yeah, so Roshi's one, very, very cool as well. That was a pretty awesome moment in the actual episode from Super. So yeah, revival skills, very, very powerful. You do have to be careful. Like I said, you've got to keep an eye on your HP, keep an eye on the restriction. You will see the icon glowing at the bottom to show that the revival skill is potentially active for that turn if you are going to take a finishing blow. It'd be kind of interesting. Not a lot of the newer, harder events that you need to do really have that anymore, but if they bring out a new Dokkan Fest event or any version of like Infinite Dragon Ball History or something where they include enemies that have the countdown to then do a ridiculously powerful super attack that is pretty much designed to one-shot you, this would be pretty cool for that, because obviously it's going to allow you to revive from that attack even though it's done insane amounts of damage that you couldn't mitigate. So that's definitely useful. But obviously the God event, being the new hardest event in the game, is definitely where these were designed to be used. But for players whose box is not necessarily as strong, these abilities are going to be super useful for things like Infinite Dragon Ball History. Some of them you will be able to activate on Super Battle Road as well. So it's a very powerful new mechanic for us to utilize in this harder content. And it's going to be interesting to see how long they wait to give another unit this revival skill. Because obviously, remember, the anniversary on JP was in February. So almost 6 months away, and they have not yet released another unit on JP that has a revival skill. So hopefully we will see another one soon. Let me know down below in the comments which one is your favorite. Who would you like to see release with a revival skill, with a cool moment from the series? It'd be interesting to hear what you guys want to see that could be used as a revival skill. So let me know all of that down below in the comment section. If you found the video useful at all or helpful, just smash that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.